He is a boy who born with a demon blood and a human child with enormous appetite named Bibi, and they lived together, and that demon boy name is Meitaro. Afterwards that boy tells to her that she can't everything she wants, since she might get sick by eating them. But that talking mirror says, that's your concern, and he goes on by saying that in the demon realm, there are many things that she should not do, which is not to follow strangers. And he says even if they have a tasty food they are some that are dangerous. But all of a sudden Bibi says that she only wants to eat Meitaro's food only, and she goes on by saying that his food is her favorite, which made him blush, and with a blushing face he just says then he doesn't need to worry anymore. After a while, Bibi was sleeping in her room, and something looks inside from the building, and slowly comes inside by the window, and it stands behind Bibi. And all of the sudden it tries to attack Bibi. But suddenly Meitaro comes in front of that monster by asking it, "What do you think you are doing?" And he says that she is his human, and that monster starts to cry and leaves the room. Afterwards he tells to himself that he felt some presence. Sure enough, it was a monster trying to eat her while touching her cheeks. And then he goes on by thinking that if someone eat a human heart they get overpowered, but he just smilingly closes the window. But Bibi was awake, and she sleeps back. About 1 year ago, there was a boy that was born without a magic power, and he decides to do some dope, and he decides to summon a human and devour them. The human he summoned was already in the blink of death, which really shocked him, and he started panic since he can only summon for once. And of the sudden Bibi pulls his dress, and he looked at her and he was really confused as well, and Bibi's stomach growls, and after hearing that, he asks her if she is hungry. And in the end he decides to take her to the kitchen, and he started to cook cookies for her, and after finished cooking, he gave her some part of it, and he tells her to eat everything, but she ate everything in an instant, but she was still hungry even after eating all of them, so he gave her another plate full of food, but she ate that in an instant too, and he started to panic by asking the mirror if the humans always eats this much. But then that mirror tells him to stop feeding her since he is going to eat her anyways. After that he thinks to himself that he needs to eat her, but Bibi asks him if he is a sorcerer, and after hearing her voice he decides to eat her later, and she asks him on why he is getting that much excited, to which he just says that nobody had ever called him like that. And after a while he smiles to himself, and says he has decided on what to do with her, which was he is going to rise her. But then the mirror warns him, since if the Great Witch finds about it, that's going to be bad. But he says that he is going to grow her into a beautiful butterfly and eat her when she is looking good. And he tells to the mirror if it agrees with him, and decides to enjoy the process. Afterwards he made a special routine for her to grow very healthy, and then a year had passed and she becomes so adorable and also strong, and he was thinking that if the kid's always this strong, and then he gave her a cookie for her help, and she ate that cookie in an instant, and also she starts to eat his hands as well, and he tells her to stop eat him. Afterwards he thinks to himself that it's fine that she is attached to him, but then an octopus monster comes to eat Bibi, but he looks at it in an angry expression, which made that octopus flee in fear, and he thinks to himself that the nutrition heart he grown over this past year is now attracting other spirits, and he realizes that Bibi heart will get more beautiful, and will be irresistible for many more monsters. And then the mirror suddenly tells Meitaro to eat her now, since someone might eat her anytime. But he tells to that mirror that it's worrying too much, since he can take care of any lesser monsters by himself, and he says that if she never leaves the house then there is nothing to worry about. After a while when Meitaro was outside, and Bibi greet him, but then something comes from Bibi's back, and it almost tried to eat Bibi, but Meitaro saved her. But he was panicking since that was a medium monster, and he realizes that she got a cut in her neck, and then he started to shout at her for leaving the ground, and he tightly holds her while lecturing her. And she started to cry because of that, so he let go of her, and he says he is going to treat her wounds, and while he was making a medicine, the mirror calls him, and says that the Great Witch had sent him a present. But he was thinking why would a Great Witch like her is giving something for him, and he tells to Bibi that he is going to prepare dinner for her in ahead of time, and hearing that she silently says yes, and started to leave the room. And before leaving she takes a look at him, and thinks about something, and it was a night time. And then she knocks on the door, saying that she wants to sleep with him tonight.